So following the video that I released the other day on the Storror Tech 10s, I thought I would come out and I would film a video testing the shoes out on the streets to kind of see if they're worth that £135 price point. So I thought, what better place to come to than to the Envy spot, which is the spot that the Storror guys tested the shoes at themselves. I'm going to tell you what I like, what I don't like, and if they're worth that £135 price point. So I've really not been back training long at all. I had like an accident last year which put me out for quite a significant amount of time, but now I'm able to like get outside. I'm able to do a little bit of moving. I've just got to make sure I'm listening to my body and not pushing anything too much. So today is going to be like a really good test of where I'm at mentally with my training as well, especially after injury. First thing about them is they are very grippy. They feel quite nice. Grip-wise, they do feel like super good, and like the impact on them as well is pretty good. This is the first time I've used them outdoors. I used them in the gym last night and they were okay on there. Straight out the box, when you've not trained on them outside, the problem you have is like every shoe has like it's like a layer of like factory crap, I like to call it. So anything like cat leaps, 180s, first session is just like untrainable because they just slip down like that. So breaking them in outdoors is the best way to kind of solve that problem. They do feel good. They're not the thickest shoes, like at all. They're not thin, like people think they're a zero drop, they're not. But they're not thick shoes either. If you're used to Reeboks or K-Swiss or anything like that, you will feel you're landing more in these than you would in like a K-Swiss or a Reebok. So just bear that in mind, but it does have like that shank in the arch to kind of protect it. So these are the insoles that come with the shoe, and I had to take them out. The reason being is with these in the shoe, it does make the shoe a lot tighter. And I think that's because like on this insole, this like heel protection raises up so much that when the insole is in the shoe, it kind of like makes it really tight. So I had to take these out and change them over to like just like a cheapy other alternative insole, and that seems to have made it far more comfier when moving and when training. And I know a couple of guys at the Parkour gym as well have also done the same thing. They've changed the insoles in. So if you're worried about the fit or if they feel a bit too tight, just change the insoles because it's going to make it a lot easier and a lot better for you.
What are you doing?
Test them out on a running precision. Impact wise, I've got like nothing to complain about. You feel you're landing a bit more, and I actually think that's probably a good thing because it makes you think more about your landing and how you train and stuff. It's really grippy. Like this has been one session of these in a gym so far, and then obviously the first session outside. They've been like super grippy so far. Obviously I want to test it on other movements like cat leaps and stuff, but we'll have to see it. I'm gonna do the big running jump down there, I think.
Ooh.
Jump to this wall here. I think this would be like the first proper test on them for like distance and impact. A pretty sizable gap with like a fair bit of hackful landing. Yeah. Bounce wise, okay. I felt it more in these shoes than I did on my K-Swiss or something when I trained in those. Every shoe is going to be different and not two shoes are going to be the same. But with these, I think you sacrifice a bit of the impact for the other features on the shoe. So the grip is really, really good. Like out the box straight away. Far better than most shoes straight out the box. But you do then eliminate some of the impacts that you get.
Would you say though, for someone who's like starting to train, that having the ability to feel where they're landing and where they're stepping might be more beneficial though? I
do. It's two ways. Like, yes, it could be more beneficial for someone who's just starting out training because they learn about landing, it's about impact, it's about, you know, technique. But also, you could argue that for someone that's just starting out, maybe a more padded shoe is going to be okay. They're in that phase where they're learning everything. It's going to be a bit, there's going to be more common mistakes, and having the more like padding in the shoe is going to keep them safer and free from injury. It's kind of like you'll kind of like start with the thicker, more padded shoes, and then as you kind of progress and get better and you become more aware of what you can do and where your like limits are and stuff, you can then look at bringing in like thinner shoes. It totally depends on the person. Yeah, you definitely feel it more. Definitely feel it more, but that probably wasn't the best example. It's a bit sloppy, but you feel your landings there. It's not a bad thing. Like I'd be interested to hit a jump wrong, like with a splat or a bounce, to see how it kind of fares up with that. Every landing I felt exactly the same. It's more, you just feel it more, which is fine. Like it feels okay, but not what I expected at all, given the thickness on the rubber on the bottom. But it's a very hard rubber, so you do just feel it.
One thing to potentially think about, you have changed the insoles, whether the insoles would have had more impact control.
Should I try it?
Give it a go, yeah.
Yeah, I literally just put just like a cheap pair of Slazenger, and then put the Storror ones back in the shoe. So it has a lot, like the Storror insoles have like so much heel protection. Like now that I've put them on, I can just feel the heel is super padded. Interested to see if the padding would affect the jump. I would say it's probably the same, but I think that's because the padding in the Storror insoles is in the heel, not in the toe.
Is heel padding there for like drops?
Yeah, for drops, if you're bouncing it like savagely, it just protects your heel from impact. That's what it's there for. I'll take it off and it curves up, and it's like this indented part of the heel there. So, and like if you look at the front, there's hardly anything. So it is specifically for your heel. They do, like now I've put them on, they are more padded than the other insoles that I've got, but because they're more padded, it does make the comfort of the shoe, it makes the shoe less comfortable, because they kind of do squeeze your feet in. And essentially it depends, like spending £135, 250 Canadian dollars or whatever on a pair of shoes, how kind of connected to them are you that you want to keep the insoles in? Like some people will probably like look at that and go, oh, I've paid £135 for shoes, but I've got to change the insoles. Like it just seems like a waste. About exactly the same in terms of padding in the toe of the shoe, the toe area. It feels exactly the same. It doesn't feel any different. Those insoles and these insoles, it feels the same. The heels in these feel more protected. So, like flat landings, you'll probably feel it a bit better. I'm gonna maybe do a standing bounce on this one, kind of like test out the bounce capability.
Verdict?
It feels the same as doing a jump, but it's protected. Thing is, the best way to test it was for me to actually intentionally arch the bounce. I don't really want to do that, but like it feels like okay, like hitting the, yeah, it feels protection. What I would say is with the Storror insoles, if they feel tight on your shoe and you do a bounce, you will feel it in like your Achilles a little bit because of the like tightness of the shoe. Right, I'm gonna test it now on cat leaps. This is the one I'm most excited to try, and 180s as well. Actually, to be fair, the aim would be to go back to that one and try and get like my 180s back, because I used to be quite confident with them before my injury. They're grippy. I think it's just in gyms. As soon as you get them out of the box, go to a gym, you will just slip everywhere. But here, it's quite grippy. Okay. Well, like 180 cat leap wise, 180 wise, good. Outside, yeah, and probably in gym situations, if you're someone who practices in the gym quite often, go outside and break them in first, because from what I was doing in there yesterday, 180s cat leaps, you just slip. Maybe it's our blocked. Maybe it's a thing across all gyms, but
that chalk seems to be getting a good job. What sort of chalk is it?
it's SWAGNEISUM chalk. £12. To be fair, it's £12 a bag. It gets a fair bit of stick because it's £12 for a bag of chalk. It is quite fucking good, like, to be fair. I don't think £12 for a bag of chalk is like bad.
Unless you use it like far too much, like put far too much on every time, it will last you some time.
Yeah, I mean, outside it has blown my 180 cat leap expectation. I am going to do a climb up with it, just to kind of like test it out. So what's the final verdict on these Storror Tech 10s? They're a shoe that is specifically designed for parkour in mind, and you can kind of feel that when wearing the shoes. The rubber on the bottom is really nice and robust, and it's the first pair of shoes that I've taken straight out of the box that is ready for outdoor training. If you're training in a gym quite often, you will need to break these in. They are super slippery on things like the wooden blocks. A few sessions outside should hopefully sort that out, but for me, straight out the box, training in a gym, they weren't the best, but straight out the box outside, they've been really, really good. Obviously, the price point is going to be a big thing for a lot of people. They're £135, about 250 Canadian dollars. If you're overseas, they are going to be quite expensive. I do, if you can, recommend getting them, only because it's supporting a parkour business. It is obviously designed with parkour in mind, but at the same time, there are probably alternatives overseas, like Strike Movement, for example, that could do a similar sort of thing. So the price point, it is quite high, it is quite dear for a lot of people. If you're overseas, try and do a group order, try and get a couple of your friends together and just do a bit of a bigger order altogether to kind of save on the cost of shipping or whatever. Would I recommend it? Yes, if you can, but also at the same time, if you can't afford it or you don't want to spend that much money on it, you're probably not going to be missing out on too much. The biggest problem I had with the shoe was the insole, and I had to take mine out and change it for just a cheap pair of insoles that I've got. The reason being is the heel has just got so much protection on here that it restricts the rest of the sizing in your shoe, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. If you want it to be kind of a bit more of a snug fit, that is absolutely fine, but for me, it kind of just made the shoe feel a little bit more uncomfortable. So I took these out, and to be honest, I'm not too fussy. I don't care about a Storror branded insole in the bottom of the shoe. So for me, it wasn't really that much of a big deal. But I know for some people, if they're spending the money on a pair of shoes, they want to keep the shoe kind of in its full set, if you were. So would I recommend them? Yes, I would. If you can get a pair, absolutely try and get yourself a pair if you can. However, because of the overseas pricing, some people aren't going to be too willing to get them, and that is absolutely fine. And to be honest, I will recommend them to people, but I will offer the other alternatives that are out there as well, because I think there is going to be something for everyone. Regardless of whether it's a Storror shoe or not, there's going to be something out there that people are going to like, and this shoe isn't going to be for everyone. You will feel your impacts, you will feel your landings a bit more. Compared to the other shoes I've worn, these are a lot different, and it has taken, a little bit of training time to get used to, but I do really enjoy them and I do like them. But like I said, there are other alternatives out there as well. So yeah, that was it on the Storror Tech 10s. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like the video, subscribe to the channel if you're new around here. All of that jazz stuff is linked in the description as well if you wanted to check that out. Yeah, all good. Take care. See you later.